Good morning, guys. I hope we're all sparkly. Today we're going to talk about the association of testosterone with gains, because that's what TRT is all about. It isn't about normalizing physiology to improve psychology. It's about no, obviously it's not about that. It is literally about normalizing physiology for long-term physical and psychological well-being. Because if we normalize physiology, we give our psychology a fighting chance of having some fun, being productive. That is what life is about. So psychology, our higher state of consciousness, allows us to appreciate subjective changes in our physiology. Why am I talking about muscles and testosterone? Because I'm pretty sick to death of TRT being promoted as this cure-all, fix-all solution, with muscularity being at the top of their agenda. YouTube influencers with their tops off. Look at me, look at me. You can achieve this. Be like me, an alpha male. Oh, don't be like me. Be yourself. Achieve your genetic potential. Now with TRT, interestingly, you can surpass your genetic potential. Why? Because anabolic versus catabolic, you are distorting your physiology very slightly, even with a well-balanced TRT protocol. So why on earth would you want to surpass this and become something you are not? If something seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true. We should be aspiring to be the best version of ourselves, not be like YouTube influencer number 1 or number 2 or whoever. Be yourself. So what is the role of testosterone in muscularity? Because we know that testosterone is used as a performance enhancing drug, but in normal physiology, it's to help facilitate anabolism, growth and repair. You're repairing from the day to prepare for tomorrow. Every day is a new opportunity to go and hunt and gather, get up, exercise, to earn your reward, which is food, and hopefully a bit of nookie at the end of the day. That's what this is about. So testosterone, it binds to the androgen receptor of the cell in certain tissues, and we're going to talk about muscles. Now, testosterone isn't just testosterone. Testosterone is also DHT and estradiol. DHT has a higher affinity for the androgen receptor than testosterone, and conversely estradiol. But they are all involved in muscles. How? What do they do? Well, what they do is they create a positive nitrogen balance, and that promotes protein synthesis and prevents protein degradation. Proteins are the building blocks for your muscles. So let's break that down even further, because obviously we're talking about skeletal muscles. There are 3 types of skeletal muscle. Type 1, slow twitch, which is good for endurance. Type 2A, fast twitch, which relies on aerobic metabolism. And type 2B, which is primarily anaerobic. So for major strength, you want type 2B, then type 2A, then type 1. For endurance, you want type 1, then type 2A, then type 2B. Now look at physiques. If you're comparing, let's say the 2 fastest runners in the world, Usain Bolt. So he's primarily got type 2B. The 100 meters is just anaerobic. The 200 meters is type 2A. So he actually uses both type 2A and type 2B for his competitive events. So he is pretty much the master. He has a wonderful blend of type 2A and type 2B fibers. How has he got this? Well, genetics is certainly a factor, but also the way he trains. Now let's conversely compare that to type 1, which is obviously slow twitch. And what about Mo Farah? Now, he can run a marathon probably as fast as I can run 100 meters. At the same pace, I mean. And look at him. He is thin as. So when you think about type 1 slow twitch fibers, these are quite tiny looking muscles, whereas type 2A and 2B are these big muscles that we're all aspiring to get for the gym and for the beach to meet the honeys. Because that's what this is all about. It's about looking good naked. It's not about long-term physical and psychological well-being. It's about looking good naked. So, what are we trying to do? We are trying to achieve our genetic potential. So we need enough testosterone to feed the androgen receptor for muscle synthesis and preventing catabolism. So how do you start this process off? It goes back to, again, this concept of balance. If you want to initiate anabolism, you have to have catabolism. So training, you need to train according to your needs and requirements. Now, can you change your physiology? You can to a certain degree, but if you're more predominantly type 1, you're more predominantly type 1. If you're more predominantly type 2, you can manipulate this by either training for type 2A or type 2B, but your genetics are your genetics, so train accordingly. If you think about it properly, our tall skeletal muscles or skeletons are pretty much designed for endurance. So as much as we all want to be big, buff, bitching and looking great naked, actually the tall skinny guys are probably more effective human beings. But we no longer need to survive and track across the plains, go hunt, go gather. So we can distort physiology somewhat. Now, if you distort physiology too much and you become too big, that becomes a problem. Why is it a problem? I want to be big. I want to be huge. Well, skeletal muscle is fed by oxygenated blood. So you've got your cardiac muscle, which is under autonomic control, so involuntary. Now, this cardiac muscle can grow as well with testosterone, but it is limited by the pericardium. Now, the pericardium is a fibrous capsule that encapsulates the heart and the major organs. Why does it do that? To protect yourself. You need to have a beating heart, funnily enough. So, muscles, what are they used for? Lifting heavy things, running long distances. They're obviously there to move your skeletal structure. They're also there to help pump the blood, the venous blood, back to the heart for it to then to be pumped outside. Outside? Away from the heart. Also, what else? What else is skeletal muscle used for? Protecting your organs. So it's incredibly important to understand why we need muscles, why we need an appropriate amount of androgens to feed those muscles, and it is primarily for growth and repair. Repairing from the day to prepare for tomorrow. Now, we all want to look good naked. So, how do you do that? You put the hard work in. It isn't as much as just sticking more testosterone in, because if you haven't got the androgen receptors in the muscles, it's going to go elsewhere. So you need a testosterone level that's appropriate to your genetics, aka the number of androgen receptors. Now, can you increase the number of androgen receptors? Yes, to a degree. Obviously through training, causing micro tears in the muscle, which then stimulates growth, which will mean an increase in the number of androgen receptors. But you can't become a monster unless you are a monster. And you should not want to aspire to be a monster if you are not a monster. So, the moral of the story is normality. Anabolic versus catabolic. Sympathetic versus parasympathetic. Understanding the need for contrast to establish harmony. Understanding the need for you to put the effort in every single day. Now that means train hard, rest well. Do not underemphasize the importance of good sleep hygiene, reducing stress, eating appropriate to your metabolic needs and your physiology, and understanding the need to repeat this on a daily basis. Every day is a new opportunity for you to seize the day.